Welcome to this week's edition of Modern Tech and Transformation. This week, we have a new face on the podcast, Musab Jaffrey. He is a solution architect here at Resolve Tech Solutions. And I want to start off by thanking you, Musab, for being here and tell us a little bit about your background.
Well, thank you for having me here. I've been a tech junkie since I was a kid, and I've been a tech professional for more than a decade now. And I've worked all over the world, South Asia, Middle East, US, been a programmer, software engineer, and now I'm an architect. And been working since start of this year over at RTS. Well, this is my second round at RTS actually. So I'm happy to be here, and the opportunity are good. So
Great. And today we are talking about the invisible AI we've always had. So tell me a little bit about your background in AI.
Well, as software engineers, as data engineers, and even as business analysts, we all have our fair share of run ins with data while working in this industry. And with data, we do data processing, we work on projects where we have to do data analytics. And with data analytics, we all work on machine learning. So, with that in mind, we all work on different levels of AI in our fields of operation, and data analytics has been a big part of our industry, all of like past 2 decades, if you look at that. So even with that, my first run in with that has been in my undergrad, I guess, when I first elected to actually study neural networks. I didn't actually go with that for long, but that was an interesting run. And eventually, you get to work on different projects where you process data, you build analytics dashboards, and then you work on APIs and integrations around those things. And so AI is always there, some way or the other. You just can't escape it.
So, in the past 18 months or so, AI has become really tangible to the average person, right? With
Mhm.
ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, whatever you're using these days, right? Dolly, there's so many different things people are doing with AI. But the topic of this episode, the invisible AI we've always had, what does that mean? What do you mean we've always had AI?
It's funny when people think of AI, they always think of that omnipotent consciousness that, just like, Skynet or Ultron. And we don't realize that we've always had an AI that's been there that we've never thought of. And it's not the AI that we usually see on media, or is not exactly like Dolly or ChatGPT. It's something that has been working in the back. And we can take a very simple example for that. I mean, we all watch Netflix, right? And
Yes.
when you watch a movie, you're watching a very specific kind of movie which has a tag behind it. So while you're watching that movie, you're unknowingly building a profile for yourself that an algorithm can then use to predict what you would want to watch next. And we can keep that example on the side. We can take another example. A lot of people go to Sam's Club.
Mm-hmm.
Sam's Club has a scan and go. Lately, they have introduced virtual gates. So instead of getting your card checked at the gate to see that if you have paid for everything in there, there's a virtual gate that can do that for them to ensure that you have already paid for everything in the cart. That is being done by an invisible AI. Of course, that doesn't work all the time, and they're still improving on that, but it's there, and you don't need to know where it is and how it's working, but it's there.
Yes.
So those are a few examples of invisible AI.
Okay. Yeah, I did not know about the Sam's Club. I figured Netflix because they keep me on there forever with all their recommendations some days. So get any other examples you can think of AI that's maybe been around before we knowingly can say, hey, I used AI today.
Well, I can take you back pre-iPhone era, I would say.
Let's do it.
So Facebook has been there since like mid 2000s, I would say. Amazon has been there since quite a while. YouTube has been there since 2005, I would say 2004, something like that.
Mhm.
We watch videos, we shop around. We used to have walls on Facebook we would post on. So while interacting with these tools and platforms, there has always been an algorithm in each of these services that has made sure that we would stay engaged with them. So YouTube would, notice what you like to watch, silly videos or funny videos or tutorials, and would want to suggest you, the next video or the upcoming videos, or suggestions and stuff like that. Facebook would want to show you, friend recommendations, like you might know this person from your high school.
Yeah.
This might be a person that you might know because you have a mutual friend. Amazon might suggest you, like, you like to read this book, this other book is of the same genre, maybe from the same writer, you might like this. So there has always been some kind of an a prediction model that has been there, that you used and never realized, that has been there to keep you engaged.
Hmm.
It's not for your benefit though, it's for their benefit, of
Yeah, they're
course.
collecting data. They're
For
doing all
sure.
kinds of things.
And past 2 decades, 2.5 decades, it's all been about data.
Hmm.
Ever since the internet, it's been about data. So that data has always been there to be analyzed upon, to build an invisible AI upon, to use that to model and to predict and be there as an invisible AI for all of us. Sometimes it's for our benefit, sometimes just for
Yes.
somebody else's benefit.
Yes, for capitalism.
Of course.
So that predictive AI and those algorithms compared to the new generative AI, how would you differentiate those?
So the generative AI are more or less, you would say, chatbot-ish
Hmm.
or virtual assistant-ish. So the difference is, the generative AI, it's interactable.
Okay.
The invisible AI is more of an embedded, behind the scenes kind of thing. So you don't see it, you don't interact with it, you just feel their influence. With chatbots, you actually get to talk to them, you give them, prompts, you get a response. There's a finite possibilities, of course, and some of them are scripted, but at least you get an interaction, like in a customer support kind of situation.
Hmm.
With virtual assistants, you get, a wider range of functions that you can do, like, schedule an appointment, or call XYZ, or can you find me an answer for XYZ. For an invisible AI, it's more or less behind the scenes. It's there, it's doing its thing. You can't actually talk to it. It'll be there. It'll keep on doing its thing. It's going to automate whatever it's doing. That's it.
So now that we have an understanding of the invisible AI that's always been there and what I'm going to call modern AI, like the generative AI that a lot of people are just touching for the first time, let's talk about some use cases.
So that's interesting. So far, what I mentioned were things that you and I would interact with,
Mhm.
but there have been more use cases in the industries that you and I haven't interacted with. Like, for instance, fintech has been using invisible AI for quite a long time. Um, there have been different levels of algorithms that monitor transactions, so fraudulent activity can be detected before any bigger scam can happen, or underwriting processes can be made faster by uh, running, what do you call, credit checks
Mhm.
for simpler cases. And even for stock trading, a human broker might be slower than an algorithm when trading stocks and options.
Mhm.
So these things have already been in place, and this is not it in manufacturing industries. For automation, for quality assurance, for checking for bottlenecks, for optimization, invisible AI has always been there for a long, long time, for automobiles, for electronics, making sure that everything is smooth. And there have been like quality control at every step of the way. Like Toyota and Honda have been using this for, like, I guess 20, 25 years. Maybe more companies have been doing this. But there's a case study for Toyota that shows how a human and a automated system work hand in hand to ensure that a streamlined manufacturing line works in the benefit of, making sure more and more cars can be delivered as fast as possible. That's really
Yeah.
impressive.
And Toyota has a reputation for quality. Their
That's
cars last forever.
that's true.
Yeah,
That's
so they're
true.
doing something right.
That's true. Definitely.
So, as you are working with different businesses, how would you recommend they start their AI journey?
Definitely works different for different companies.
Mhm.
Fintech has already figured out how to implement this in their space. Real estate has definitely a different dynamics. Healthcare has different. Healthcare has also started figuring out how AI can be used for their space as well. Of course, with compliances and all, it's kind of challenging at
Mhm.
times. So they have to think about and navigate around that as well. Um, Oil and gas is also monitoring and um, checks and sensor detections and all that is all being handled with AI as well. So these things, you don't need Gen AI or Chat GPT level of stuff. It's still the invisible AI that is capable of handling all of this data and processing it for managing and maintaining what you need out of that system to optimize and make everything more efficient. Of course, Gen AI is going to be the next big thing in making new strides,
Mhm.
but what we've already had has been impressive enough, and we have never given it credit enough.
I mean, that's one way of thinking of it that I haven't really thought of it. So it has been here. We just haven't been able to actually sit there and use it ourselves to say, oh, I used AI today, but we've been using it
We've been
all
using it.
along. So, with some of those business use cases, or how you said businesses have been using this invisible AI or can if they have not already started, what are some of the benefits that you've seen businesses have due to using AI?
Well, the best cases that the businesses have always had with invisible AI is being able to deliver tailored experiences for their customers, of course,
Mhm.
with consent, because you're handling data. And especially in EU, it's a really sensitive situation because they have really harder rules and regulations when you handle customers' data. And with large data, decision making is one of the biggest advantages that you have with data. So these are the benefits that you have: the ability to have decision making, process automation, and tailored experiences. Of course, when this comes, challenges come as well. And one of the challenges that we've always had is biasness.
Yes.
So when there's data, there can be data biasness. Decisions that an AI makes will be as good as the data we were given for it to be trained on. So, of course, there are always challenges with that. You have to work around those challenges. You have to make sure that the data is correct. And again, I say Terminator is never going to happen because the kind of data that we are generating every day on the internet, if an omnipotent AI is getting trained on all of that, it's never going to pass first grade anyway. So there's that. But there are workarounds to uh, getting around those challenges. Of course, we clean those data, we label those data. There's another challenge that one might glance over. It's if 10 people are doing a job and an AI comes in and automates that job. Those 10 jobs get replaced by maybe one or two jobs that is for maintaining that AI or maintaining that system. The rest of the 8 jobs are gone. Even I would say that those 2 jobs are a different kind of job. So a different
Yeah.
specialty is required.
And that's a major fear. What
Mhm.
advice in upskilling do you have people in for? Like, what upskilling advice do you have for business or
Well,
tech users?
this would be a hard thing to say because with each upgrade that we've had, even with industrial revolution
Mm.
and then space age and information age, of course, there have been different trades that have gone away and new trades come in. So it's like, people have to learn new skills eventually. This is a dilemma that I can't actually answer myself. So
Fair enough. No,
yeah.
I definitely think I'm like, okay, knowledge workers, marketing, there's been a lot of great advancements in AI that I utilize on a daily basis that
Hmm.
have made my team more productive and me more productive. And
Of course.
um, but I'm like, wait, should I go back to some type of skilled trade? Do I need to go to cosmetology school to make sure I have a job in 20 years? But yeah, those are questions that the workforce is going to be asking themselves. But I do believe it's not the people AI isn't going to take jobs. It's the people that don't embrace AI that'll be the first to go. Because if you're
Mm,
embracing it, then there's always going to be a way for the human to interact with AI. But if you
definitely.
refuse to embrace it at all,
That goes same with the companies as well. If
yeah.
you don't embrace AI at this stage, you might go out as well. Look at other companies like BlackBerry used to be a big thing.
Hmm. I had one.
Yeah, I had a Nokia,
Same.
so
Yeah.
it's not there anymore. So it's gonna be the same for people, and it's gonna be the same for companies. You have to eventually embrace AI.
Absolutely. And I think I mean, we already are at RTS and we're
Definitely.
encouraging our clients to do so with us. So if you're on that journey,
Yeah, actually, in the past 5 months, ever since I've been here at RDS, I think all my projects have been around AI.
can you agnostically kind of talk about some of those without giving us too much information?
That would be a hard thing to do because everything you work for is kind of too much tailored around the customer's actually specific needs and business
Hmm.
knowledge. So
What industries have you been working on AI projects for?
mostly oil and gas at the moment, and shipping and freight. So coincidentally, but in the past, I've also worked for companies that have been around healthcare as well. So it's
Okay.
been nice, and a couple of fintech as well.
Yeah, you can tell from your in-depth knowledge of fintech that you are familiar with that very much. So,
So there was a project that I worked once that was around a company that was a middleman between government tenders that they would in the morning they would look for government tenders that would come, and they would filter them out based on what kind of tenders they are, what kind of work it is, and then they would look for companies that actually do those things. And their main goal was to make sure that they were the first to find the work and find the worker company so
okay.
that they can get the commission. So we were the ones that helped them uh, actually automate all of that using machine learning so that there's no human work, and it gets done at 7 a.m. till 8 a.m. all on their own, so that emails can get generated, all the stuff can get ready to go. All they have to do is just click approve, and they can fire away all those tenders to the brokers on its own for the list they have, that yeah, these are the people that we work with generally or have a historical connection with,
Mhm.
and they have a higher chance of winning those tenders.
And that's wildly efficient. And machines never get tired. So
Yeah,
they
of
can
course.
just churn and burn all day long.
Exactly. And if they get tired, you just reset them.
Yeah. So to wrap up, what are your AI predictions for the next 3 to 5 years?
It's going to be good, actually. We are heading towards the next industrial revolution for sure. This is going to be a different kind of industrial revolution, and this is going to be good for both customers, businesses alike. Like I said, everybody's going to have to embrace AI eventually, and this is going to be the next best thing. We are heading towards a different kind of automation and efficiency upgrade for both businesses and industry alike. Although I do see that we are not having bigger strides in automation or quality of life improvements with AI for domestic home life,
Mhm.
but that's going to be a byproduct later, probably, hopefully.
I hope
Of
so
course,
too.
these things are expensive, right?
Yeah.
So of course, there's more money in automating industries and businesses than of course automating homes at the moment.
I'm very excited about what's to come. And I know our clients are, and they're in good hands working with solution architects like yourself and
Mhm.
one of our other regulars, Michael Brown, who you all will see this season as well. I want to thank you for your time and coming on the podcast. And we know you'll be back again.
For sure. For
Thank you,
sure.
Masab.
Thank you.